Okay, good afternoon and welcome everyone once again to our weekly State of the Grizz here, brought to you by the Office of Student Engagement, specifically the Dean of Student Engagement's office at Gutman Community College. We are very excited to be sharing this space with you today. And are you getting feedback?
I am.
Oh, that's not good. Let me see if I can turn that further down. Okay. How about now?
Perfect.
All right. I think it's on my end. I may have to do something different here. But while we're started, uh, we just want to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to um, our, I think, 13th episode.
Yeah, 13th, 14th here. It's in the last couple of weeks come at an interesting time, and I know we're going to spend some time going through that, but I want you know, to start the discussion with our traditional welcome. Um, so I'll let you go ahead and kick that off, and I'll come in.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we want to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to our State of the Grizz. Today is June 3rd. We are in the last couple of steps before we get to the end of Spring 1. And we are trying our hardest to ensure that the community stays informed, up to date, and aware of all of the different things that we are doing on the campus in response to just so many things. And today is no different. Today's episode is going to bring you some information related to the salute to graduates and some of the people that we're going to be highlighting during that ceremony. And then the back half of this episode is going to tackle current events with regard to things that are happening in our communities that affect and impact us as an institution on so many levels because of the people that we serve and the ways that we are impacted by all of the things that are happening. And so I'm going to just hush up, Dean, and move to give you this space and allow you to take us on this journey. And then I'll be providing some information on the back end with regard to things that Gutman is doing in response to this stuff. So, Dean, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Nestor. I really do appreciate the intro, and I want to thank, we're now at 40 participants in Blackboard. So those are typically members of our community, and then we're at just over a half a dozen, but it continues to climb folks on live. So welcome and thank you. As Nestor said, this comes at an interesting time, and we're going to spend some time talking with some stellar examples of academic achievement in our salutatorian and valedictorian today. But we wouldn't be doing our due diligence and doing justice to ourselves, to our community, to our students. And I'm going to evoke something that, we talk about personally, but I wouldn't be doing justice to my ancestors, those that came before me and traveled this road ahead of me and paved the way, and those whose shoulders I stand on if we didn't address the current climate. And so we're going to take some time on the second half to dive into that. And I'm going to ask folks that if you are joining through Blackboard, if you are in the Instagram Live, please feel free to write things into the chat. I'm going to ask that people are respectful, ask questions, inquire, and recognize that we're here to have a conversation, we're here to learn. But we're going to be talking about a pretty difficult subject matter, and might make some folks uncomfortable. And unfortunately, the easiest and best way to grow is by being uncomfortable in situations, because that's usually when you have the greatest opportunity to learn. So thank you, Nestor, for that. And I just want to take 30 seconds to do my weekly thank you to all essential workers, the folks in public safety facilities who've been holding Gutman down in our absence, to our students as you are in the fourth quarter of your spring one semester. I know this hasn't been an easy road, but know that we're here and we got you back and we're here to support you. And that's all I got to say for right now because I really am excited about having this conversation with your valedictorian, Mr. Andrew Ugolini, and your salutatorian, Ms. Jacqueline Arias. I'm going to give them the opportunity here now. And Nestor, you tell me what order we're going to do this in to introduce themselves. And then, I just really want to hear about how you've approached your Gutman experience and how you have used and leveraged all that Gutman has to offer as, to help you build your foundation and your academic achievements. So please, Ness, give us the order and let's let some of our stellar Gutman Grizzlies lead us on this next segment.
Yeah, we are absolutely proud of all of the accomplishments of our students, and the salutatorian and valedictorian are traditionally prime examples of the most involved, the greatest academic achieving students. They certainly are a point of pride for us, and all things being equal, we'll go with the order that they would have been presented in the program. The salutatorian typically goes first, and so that is Ms. Jackie Arias. So Ms. Jacqueline, if you could unmute yourself, because I did mute you earlier. We're happy to welcome you to the Grizz, and just go ahead and give us a sense of your journey, your story, come in highlights, things that you want your fellow graduates to know. You have about 50 people in the chat, which is awesome. Let me just say before you go that we are super proud of you and all the work that you've done. I know I've personally watched you hustling hard on campus every time that I saw you downstairs in the SJ office, working on homework, working on papers, doing all of the things that you needed to do. And you found time to also involve yourself in other ways on the campus. So congratulations to you and welcome to State of the Grizz. Jackie? Oh, there you
Hi,
go.
everybody hear me? Everybody see me? Great. All right. So first, I just want to thank you. I appreciate all of those kind words. And so to introduce myself, my name is Jacqueline Arias Mejia. I am this year's salutatorian. I'm also a peer mentor, an admissions and access peer mentor, and a wellness ambassador. And right now, I actually want to use this time and this opportunity to talk about something other than my academic achievements. I want to bring attention to the efforts that our Gutman community is doing to address what's going on right now, which is, the systematic racism, the oppression, and the murders of Black people. I know we already addressed that this is a touchy topic, but I think it's important that we focus on that instead. And so I do appreciate all of the thank yous, but this is what I'd rather to speak on. And I think our valedictorian, Andrea, is agreeing with me.
Absolutely. So I think this is absolutely what we were hoping was going to happen today. And so, Dean Pryor, please engage. Oh, we're going to introduce Andrea also.
Yeah, I'm here. I want to take a moment to thank Jacqueline for that. It looks like Andrea just reconnected, so I'm going to let him speak as the podium and microphone space is yours. But I want to thank Ms. Arias for her comments.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andrea Galini, this year's valedictorian and first year experience peer mentor, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of the Gutman community. And yeah, I totally agree with Jacqueline, and I believe that it is only fair for us to dedicate the entirety of this space to discuss the ongoing protests. Maybe we could start by, I don't know, inviting students and faculty to dedicate a moment of silence for what's going on and for to acknowledge the tragic killings of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor,
Ahmaud Arbery. All of them. Yes.
All the black men.
All right. So
Gender false.
I have a timer set up right now. If we just want to take a moment of silence right now, we would really appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to start it, all right? Okay. Okay, you can proceed. All right. So, we have a couple of questions for the government community, specifically faculty, staff, and most importantly, professors. And so we're going to have a couple of questions be written in the chat. And we just want a few volunteers. They can put on their mic, they can put on their video to read them aloud. Please make sure to answer the questions as they are written, because this is something very important to a lot of students right now. So if anybody wants to, volunteer to read out a question, anybody participating right now, feel free.
Okay, and that's totally fine. I'll just read it out loud. So hi everyone, my name's Angelique. And just to start off, this is a yes or no question, but we want to open it up to any type of opinions, responses, that you best feel you want to kind of share. This is a safe space. The first question being, have you received any form of acknowledgement, for example, through email, virtual lectures, or any other platform from your professors about Black people dying tragically by the hands of the police in America? And this is a question that you can turn your mic on for, respond in the comments, or whatever way you feel most comfortable. And like I want to just reiterate, this is a safe space. So whatever you feel you want to kind of share regarding that specific question, please feel free to do so.
What I think we're gonna do is find that it's probably going to be a lot of chat messages that are gonna happen. So Jacqueline or Andrea, it may be easier for one of you to ask the question or put it and then moderate out some of the answers, because we're not going to be able to have everybody reply in, since we can't see the order of people raising hands, and everyone speaking at the same time can drown out voices or make it difficult to follow the conversation. I would recommend that one of the two of you pick up on a thread from the chat and maybe speak to what's being written. That way we could follow the conversation, and then people can continue to feed the chat. I think that's going to be a living conversational space, but having people respond in out of the blue is going to make it difficult to follow the conversation, at least in this space as it is created.
Yeah, of course. So I'm just going to read out some of the responses. Right now we have a couple of no's. Seems that a lot of students right now have not received any kind of email or reaching out from their professors. Some people have. According to one person, they only had a small discussion about the protest for one of their classes, but it was about less than 10 minutes. Aside that, nothing more. Somebody else received an email, but it seems that a lot of the students right now are not. And I think that's very alarming.
Yeah, one of the professors knows what's going on. I'm reading.
And I also want to point out this is last night I put a poll on my Instagram account. I have many of my fellow government students there as well, and 20% say yes and 70% say no. And a lot of those 20% that says no are the students, all black students. They're not even student of color. They are black students. So this is not just us coming out and just want to talk. I want to put that out here.
Yeah, same. For me, it was the same thing as Lyric. She's saying that 2/3 of her professors have talked about this, but they were both very brief, and I had the same experience. And I was kind of hoping that we could talk more about it because I know that it's impacting a lot of people, especially a lot of government students.
Can we get a sense of what are the things that students are hoping to hear, or what would they like to see come from the campus, whether it's from the faculty, from the administrations, from the staff? What are we hoping is enacted in response? And certainly I don't expect all of the answers to come, but as students, you have a inside track to your feelings and what it is that you deem would be an appropriate way for us to answer to some of the things that are being raised in the chat.
Personally, ever since this COVID thing has started, I just been dealing with trauma after trauma, with my own personal battle with COVID, with me losing family member from COVID and natural causes, and then in the midst of all that, this whole thing that's happening right now regarding black bodies. Okay, I want the perfect like I've been getting emails from my professors, telling me what I need to do. I need to do this, which I already know what I need to do regarding my schoolwork, regarding graduate. I already know what I need to do. But as one of your students who happens to be a black student, a black woman, I would really appreciate it if you just acknowledge it. It doesn't really have to be some type of a whole class that is dedicated to it, but reach out to your student, because this thing is affecting me. My father is going on every freaking day. He's going every day. He's a black man. He's going out every day because he has to work. Now New York State have a curfew. He's out past the curfew because he has to work. You understand? So just because he's out there every day, I am scared of him. I'm always praying. I've been praying for him to come back to the house every day, but like now it's even more scary. You understand? And I'm just dealing with this, and it's like it hurts, and I haven't even heard anything from my professors. You understand? Professors, who claims that they care about me. How you care about me and you haven't shown any type of support? You understand? I do not want to be disrespectful. I respect everybody that is in this chat. I respect every single professor, every single faculty. I respect everybody that is in there. But it has to be said. It has to be said, because this school, the black students are being left. This is not really a people of color issue. This is a black people issue. You understand? This is a black people issue. It's not people of color now. And I don't like when our professors, faculty, whoever, trying to minimize it by saying us as people of color. Like, I'm sorry, I am a black woman in America. I am in the bottom of the pyramid. Okay, so we are not experiencing the same thing. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
We just want to say we're trying to come from a very respectful place. We understand that as a school, you guys do what you can, but we're just trying to address that there needs to be a little bit more that's happening right now, especially for students of color and especially for Black students. So we just want to reiterate, we don't mean any disrespect. We just want to voice our opinions and let you guys know exactly how we feel right now during these times. And I think we have somebody else that wants to speak.
Hold on, I'm trying to get my video to connect.
Is that Samantha or Deborah that's trying to speak right now?
Deborah.
Deborah?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. My name is Deborah Williams. I'm also a peer mentor. I'm an admissions and access peer mentor here at Gutman. When I first was realizing that professors were sending me emails and they weren't discussing the issues that were going on, that are actively going on in regards to the oppression of Black bodies and the tragic killings that have been happening. The first thing that I did was look towards the vision statements of Gutman, because I believe that is something that you guys pride yourself on, is to show that this is our statement to our students. This is our agreement, our promise. So I decided to take a look at that, and these are the words that you guys, meaning Gutman, has said about their vision statements. Stella and Charles Gutman Community College will support student achievement in a dynamic, inclusive, and intellectually engaging environment. We will be recognized for the contributions of our students, faculty, staff, and graduates to our communities and to a thriving and sustainable New York City. Now, my question that I had for that was, with the lack of vocality around the issues of the tragic killing of not only George Floyd, but countless other Black people in America at the hands of the police, how does that show that you guys are intellectually engaging us? How do you guys provide the dialogue that we need to have, that is necessary to, first of all, understand each other, and second of all, to educate people with privilege who can use and actively use that privilege? Education is where you learn. Teachers learn, professors learn, faculty learn, student learns. We're all actively supposed to be learning in this time. And I feel like there's a lack of that. I feel very unrepresented. And I feel like the sentiments of, yes, I see what's going on, and yes, I understand. No, you don't understand. And that's what we need to understand about each other, is that we have two different types of journeys and paths that we're all going through, depending on the color of our skin, sorry. So I think that professors have a duty, faculty has a duty and a responsibility to its students to actively be in support of not having this be ignored all the time. And that's what I'm urging out of you. I'm urging all of you in faculty to please take us seriously. Please take this real life thing seriously, because we are faced with this every day. The young people is out right now protesting for this, having their lives on the line. For you just not to acknowledge that is a big slap in the face. And I'm truly disappointed in y'all. But that's all I got to say. Thank you for giving me the platform. Jackie, Andrea, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who is commenting and being honest about their experiences that they are going through right now. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I believe Samantha had her hand raised as well. Samantha,
Is she active?
I think so. At least according to my list, she's still here.
Yes,
Okay.
she's here. You could turn on your mic.
Actually, now Samantha has disappeared from my list. So she may be, oh, there she goes, she's reconnecting.
Okay.
Okay, Samantha, are you here? It won't let, for some reason, it won't let her connect.
So maybe Samantha, if you could, if you can't get your mic working, maybe type some of the stuff that you want to say, and either Jacqueline or Andrea can read it, because we'd really love to hear your voice in the space. This space is for students, and we want to maintain that in the direction that Jacqueline and Andrea wish to take today's discussion.
Yeah. If you're on a phone, I think you can also try to call in, if that works. We have a couple of questions going on in the chat that are being posted. So look out for those questions. We just posted one right now. So please feel free to answer those. We have another speaker that is trying to speak right now. I believe Sean Carter. Okay, we have Samantha. Go ahead, Samantha.
Hello. I just wanted to thank you for letting me speak. My name is Samantha. I'm president of Spark Club, and I haven't been active lately, and I'm sorry for that. But I just want to say, what's been going on in this world today is very upsetting, and it's led me to be very emotional. Like organizations that I have supported for years, they're not even speaking out. And I've been calling them out on Instagram. I tagged Gutman. I tagged my organization, El Puente. I'm tagging CUNY. I'm tagging other colleges, and I'm getting students from other colleges to speak out and let it be known that we have a voice and we need to be heard. And what we need to do is educate some of these professors on how to deal with us. Because government is a school that has a lot of African American, Latino, and Hispanic children. And you need to hear us. Some things that these professors say is not acceptable. And I don't think they understand the words that come out their mouth, that sometimes it could be hurtful, or I don't know if they don't understand that maybe they're being a little bit racist, but they need to be educated on what they are dealing with. As an African American Puerto Rican student at Gumman College, I should be supported. These professors need to speak up. I understand that we are in finals, but it's not okay to not speak. We need to hold the space for all of Gutman so we could handle this right then and there. And then we need to also get CUNY involved, because it's not okay that people are waiting weeks later when protests are getting bigger and bigger for you to speak up and write a statement. A statement doesn't do anything for me. I need an action. I need you to do something. Because the statement to me is something that has been revised before you sent it out there with your name on it. I need you to be straightforward. If our governor is sitting here being straightforward with the news, why can't we do it as a community, a college community? That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'd just like to just reiterate what Drew said in the chat as well. If you're registered to vote, please vote, because that's a very powerful weapon we all have right now. And most of the time, young people tend not to express their views through voting, and I feel that is a big problem. So definitely vote, and do your best to be there or to request an absentee ballot, but please do your best to vote and to express your opinion, because that's a very powerful weapon.
I believe we also had a request to speak from Sean Carter. Sean, are you still there?
Yeah, how you doing, Esther?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi,
You're good,
everybody.
Sean. Your mic is hot.
So,
Go ahead.
so, this is how I feel about this whole situation. Me personally, I feel like all of the CUNY, y'all ain't better than the police at all. And the reason I say that is because it is. We as students and some of us, family members, we put a lot of money into y'all schools to make sure y'all can profit off of us while we sitting there getting the education from y'all schools. And especially, hold up, god damn, bro. Give me 1 second. I gotta do something. Okay, so sorry, but to finish what I was saying, we put a lot of money into y'all schools, and especially Gutman as well, right? Me, for example, I'm in debt, and I'm supposed to be paying Gutman off, so I can come back. But it is weird when y'all want us to do this, but when something is happening worldwide that is affecting us, y'all quiet. Y'all ain't doing nothing. Why is it that y'all students, me, and a lot of other people are inside of these protesters fighting, and y'all not there? When I was in Gutman, I remember you sitting down talking to me, telling me about how you you don't have to, but you take your time out to talk to us or individually. Me and you even spoke, and you told me a lot of times about how you don't want to see young African Americans and Latinos that are in your college in these streets or behind bars. But yeah, look at what is happening. I'm not seeing none of y'all. I don't see none of y'all other than a post on Instagram in these crowds protesting with us. I don't see any of y'all using your time to fight.
All right, I think we have Estelle speaking next, and we're gonna give her an opportunity to speak right now.
Hi everyone. So first and foremost, my name is Estelle. For those who don't know me, I understand that this is an emotional time for everyone. I completely agree with everyone who has spoken. I have been through a roller coaster of emotions since the start of the year, but mostly during these times. And I just want to say that I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling disgusted. I'm feeling broken. I have noticed way too much silence, way too much silence by students, faculty, and staff. Too many bystanders. Support is free. Speaking up is free. Too much emphasis and safe space, but all I see is a silent space. A silent space that is hurting Black students. We need to say it just how it is, Black students. I cannot sit here and write multiple papers for classes when the world and neighborhoods are on fire. I am not emotionally stable to write papers about this pandemic. That's not what's important right now. As an institution with a diverse student population, there has been more than enough time to address this. And it's gonna take way more than an Instagram post too. And I refuse to be quiet. There's nothing anyone can say or do to me to allow me to stay shut and not stand up for my Black brothers and sisters. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you.
Thank you, Estelle, and thank you, Sean. Um, we want to reiterate, we're really disappointed mostly in faculty, staff, but most importantly professors right now. I feel like a lot of students are under immense stress with everything that's going on right now. And a lot of what we've seen is, you know, emails about remember to do your paper, remember to come to class, but nothing about what's actually going on and addressing the situation. And I think that's very apparent right now. And a lot of Black students and students of color right now really don't appreciate that. We need our professors to speak up and address this, because by not addressing it, you're not addressing us as people, and what's going on. So again, we want to reiterate that. Does anybody else want to speak right now?
I just wanna add saying that there are some professors who have reached out, but it's not enough. It's not enough. Like I don't understand how in a group I have 4 professors and only one of them is reaching out to me. Like it's not enough. And the program in the program directors are not reaching out either. You understand? So again, like I am extremely disappointed. Like every day. I currently work with high school students. I am promoting government. I am promoting government to Black students, telling them government to school. This is what government has to offer. This is what government has to offer. And when it comes, they're gonna see that I'm a liar. They're gonna see that I'm a liar because for them has I'm promoting the school being inclusive, but the school is not really there for them. And as everybody has said, it's not just a government thing. It's also community things as well.
Thank you. Now we kind of just want to bring it back to you guys as people that work for community, people that work for government, what your take on this is, and how you feel about what we've been saying for the last 30 minutes.
I'll actually take this on first, Nestor, if that's okay. Um, I'm moved that you all trusted enough in this space to share your feelings and emotions around this. There are not enough words to say how I, as a Black man in America, grew up in the Bronx in a single parent home, had the opportunity and the benefit to be and educated and receive multiple degrees and go to school and that none of that matters in regards to the value of my life. I grew up at a time when you knew these things were happening, but someone had to have a video camera to capture the images, like Rodney King in the 90s. Today, we're inundated with these videos, feels like on a weekly and sometimes daily basis. Your anger, your frustration with the world is valid. Your disappointment in a space, in an environment where you were looking for more support is also valid. I hear it, I feel it, and I feel as an administrator, as dean, as a father, as a brother, as a son, as a husband, as a Black man, that we need to do more so that your energies here today bear fruit in something that you all are asking for. I will say this, we have not done enough, period. We will do more, period. I look to you all for assistance in what that looks like. Statements aren't enough. Notes aren't enough. There is a time and a call for action, and I think you all are appropriate, professional, respectful in anger, especially, and I take my hats off to you, because at your age, I don't know if I could have been as poised as many of you have been today. This is an immensely difficult moment in our history, and we need to do more as partners and co-conspirators. I don't know how many of you got my note, but the word co-conspirator is different than an ally. An ally is someone that cheers you on and says that you're doing the right thing. A co-conspirator is someone that is in the trench with you, someone that is locked arm in arm and fighting the battle alongside of you. That is a pledge to you. That is the pledge that I know many officers and faculty and folks at the college pledge, but we now, in making that pledge, have to live to that. Talking about it is one thing, being about it is another. You know, like I said, I grew up in the Bronx. You know what I mean? You know, we know, you know, talking the talk and walking the walk, and usually the one with the biggest mouth isn't the one that is ready to fight. And I'm telling you here now that my goal as a man of color, as your dean, as a person raising 2 Black girls, that I'm in the fight with you, and I am rolling up my sleeves and getting in the trenches. I need your help in figuring out what that looks like, what that feels like, so that you feel support. Because I'll say again, and I'll say it again after this, what we've done thus far has not been enough. It hasn't reached you, it hasn't touched you, and by my own standard, it hasn't been even adequate. It hasn't been appropriate. So I'm here, and I'm gonna be here, and I'm gonna take more steps. And I thank y'all for your energy. And again, I thank you for your honesty and your candor about your feelings. And know that you are heard and you are seen in this space today. So I don't want to take up all the time, because this isn't about me. This is about you, and you asked for multiple responses.
Yes.
As the host of the State of the Grizz, I thought it incumbent upon me to speak up, and I'm going to mute myself and allow some folks to respond in the chat, and maybe even give way to Nestor to share, or any other administrators on the Blackboard to share how they're feeling or what's going through their mind. I know some folks have the chat, but I'm gonna mute my microphone and listen. So
Yeah, we do have some folks that want to speak, so we're going to give them the space to do that. Cassandra is up first on.
Can you guys hear me okay? My connection's a little bad.
We can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay, great. Once again, as always, thank you for having me. You all are doing an amazing job speaking up for yourselves. As a Black woman who is also a PhD student in the CUNY system, I share your sentiment in saying that not enough is being said. Not enough is being said, not enough is being done. I'd also recognize that just within staff and faculty that Black people are being ignored, and our pain and what's going on is also being ignored. Problem. I've had students that have confessed what's been going on and how this is impacting them. So for me, my confusion is why other people are not having this conversation with their students. Thank you, Nestor and Charles, for having this conversation, but I'd also like to know, gentlemen, what is it that you are doing to give to these students? Because from what I'm hearing, nothing is being said. There's racism and there's issues that are not being addressed in terms of engaging with students, and there needs to be a discussion. While this is a space to do it, and this is a start, but it's important that this conversation and the realities that we all are dealing with are acknowledged. And I'm sorry, if someone brings up racism, be it staff or faculty or a student, it should be acknowledged and taken seriously. There's a problem if you are in a space and people are saying that there's racism and it's ignored. It should not have taken this new death to get to this point. But we are here, and it is a moment to change. But I think we all need to reflect on how we are complicit in maintaining certain structures and learning how to educate. I checked the Instagram for Gutman. Gutman participated in Blackout Tuesday, but I'm also not seeing any of those educational resources being also pushed out. Part of Blackout Tuesday was also pushing out educational resources and resources to help people be educated. So I don't understand why this is not being done. I don't know whose decision that was to participate in Blackout Tuesday and not say anything else. That's a problem. And just as an aside, I know that there's a lot of faculty on this chat, and that's great. And I'm seeing your messages, and I get that sometimes you don't know how to speak, but you have Black staff and fellow faculty member who are suffering right now, and you all are not saying anything to any of us. We are people too, and we all need to be supported. And silence is very complicit. Silence is deafening. And I understand that it is a moment of where we need to be selective and careful, but sometimes we need to start by being reflective and recognizing where we are complicit with upholding the same systems that we claim to be against. Our students are doing an amazing job organizing right now, but it shouldn't have taken to realize that there's a race issue in America, there's a race issue in schools. It is a thing, and they deal with it every single day. The inequality, just even trying to switch onto online during COVID, inequality is a thing, and we have to talk about it. But it should not have taken another person being killed to get to this point. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much.
I believe there was someone else that had their hand raised as well. My screen is not letting me know who that person is. But if there was someone else to speak, this is the time to do so. Okay. Until we get that person back, what I will say is, you are right. And there needs to be a gut check in terms of those of us who talk the talk and don't walk the walk. There needs to be an examination of the ways in which we are complicit with upholding systems that are problematic. And there's got to be some pushback. It is incredibly sad that it took a combination of tragedies to underscore and highlight exactly what's been happening here um, in America, and that it took this pandemic coupled with the deaths of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and countless others to like force the issue onto people's plates in such a way. And that doesn't excuse stuff that has happened in the past. But I think that moving forward, we need to take what our students are saying and turn that into action steps. We need to create those partnerships and find out exactly what are the ways that we can do that. And also, as I'm learning, to take responsibility ourselves to unlearn and then educate ourselves in the places where we can be supportive and we can be helpful, because anti-blackness is real. It's something that has been brought to my attention as something that I need to investigate, and I've accepted that very difficult introspection. But if I'm going to sit here and say that I'm going to serve my community, then when my community says we need you to do this stuff, then yeah, let's make that happen. So challenge accepted. On behalf of myself, Nestor, not the Office of Student Leadership and Campus Life, I pledge to work with my students and find out what it is that I can do to help move the bar forward and position you to be successful, to be supportive, and to give you the tools that you need to move forward. And while I'm doing that, to continue to educate myself and put myself in a position of taking away those things that have been problematic behaviors of the past, and move forward in solidarity and partnership with my Black students, with my Black colleagues, with my Black peers, and certainly for the system that I work for, to help them understand that there's a lot at stake here and we got some work to do. David, you're raising your hand, and I'm being told in the chat that you want to speak. So are you there?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're here. Hello, Nestor. So I wanted to say is that I don't feel like we all should be in silence at this moment in time, and I know all of us, we didn't expect this to happen in our time. That Also, I want to say for all the people in the chat, where's the president? Don't we have a diverse school? Um, I also want to say is that in this has happening for a long time in like some schools where segregation as well is being in some schools, and that just like some of the people in or one of my colleagues that said in the chat that in her school that she faced a lot of racism in that school, um, but right now they're being exposed for what they said, and I feel like we should keep talking about schools that are actually doing this, just being quiet instead of talking about what's happening in our time right now. And I also want to say the Blackout Tuesday thing that we did yesterday, the pictures. Some people were being silent, and I saw some people that showed up out of nowhere that shouldn't shouldn't that didn't say anything about the movement and what was happening, when that's kind of like being a little bit fake, I want to say. And I know some people are trying to support that, but if you want to say something, say something in the beginning. Don't say something that just came up, or like an event that just came up, and then participate in it. Say something right now. Bring information to people. You could participate in so many ways. Just like me, I can't go outside because I have very overprotective parents, but I try to participate. I try to give everyone information about what is happening in the protests, um what's happening around the world, what Trump is doing. Do your part. That's it. That's all you have to do. And if you don't, then you're just being left out. I just want everyone to do their part in this, because this is our time right now. We don't we don't want this anymore. We don't want any more black people being hurt. Um, we just don't want it. Um, yeah, that's all I had to say.
Thank you for that. I think we have a few more people that want to speak. I see Nicola Blake and Marcus Sanchez.
While we're waiting for those folks to figure out, maybe they're having some technical issues. I want to address two things. This conversation is going to go on until we get to a good place. So don't worry about the 4 p.m. stop. The other thing is, President Evan Beck is in a CUNY Central meeting. I'm going to reach out to him to see if he's able to join us at some point in time. I know I see his name active in the participants, but he's logged in but plugged into that virtual meeting space. But I'm going to try to see if he's able to join us, but know that he's in a virtual meeting with the university right now, and talking about us facilitating the space. So I'll see if the central office, where that central office meeting is, and see if he has the opportunity to join us to give an address. So Nicola, I see your Dean Blake. I see you're on camera, so I'll mute myself again and allow you space to address the group, if space to address the group.
Oh, I think I was muted, guys. Thank you for speaking out. I've also reached out to faculty while you guys were talking. I am the dean of faculty, and our faculty need to do better. It's part of an ongoing conversation we've had this week, so I'm really happy, especially as past Black faculty and now Black dean of faculty, that you guys are talking out. It's it's heartwarming. It's been a really, really difficult week. I also have a 11-year-old son, so I'm trying to figure out how to navigate some of the things that's happening and how to process that. And also, I have a 15-year-old daughter. And I don't think we're doing enough for you. I don't think we have shown up properly for you. I know that yesterday was Blackout Tuesday. We still held several meetings, and it was business as usual in certain parts of college. The meetings that I had to attend to, and I'm now regretting that as an institution we didn't come together and figure out how to really honor and time yesterday, and also how to talk to our students and make sure that they're supported during this period. It's a really period to making sure that all of the students are supported, that all of the issues are surfaced. If you get any microaggression in your classrooms, and Dean Pryor knows this, you can reach out directly to Dean Pryor and myself, and we will definitely address those things in the classroom. And it's just time. It's time now to have an anti-racist curriculum, and also have folks in the classroom who are there to really support you and see you as whole people. So I'm really glad that you guys have spoken out today. It's about time. So, now you're going to hold us accountable, so we will have to show up for you. And we're committed to doing that. I see that Marcus I also joined the chat. I am hoping that he'll chime in because this is some of the conversations that Professor Allen and I have. He's in charge of, but just somebody who's really, really committed to students. And I think, I'm glad that he joined the call now.
As we get around to that, Monica, I saw that you raised your hand again. Is there more notes that you wanted to share?
No, I'll step back. I see new people want to speak, so I'm gonna step back.
Okay. Way late in this thread, so I don't know if somebody jumped in there, Jacqueline or Andrea. Did you have another name of somebody that wanted to speak?
I see we had a couple.
Personally don't.
Go ahead, Andre.
No, I just want to say I've been kind of silent because I just wanted to hear what other students had to say, because I've been talking to Harmonica and to Jacqueline before, and I've been saying that I only came here. This is a story that some people already know, but I only came here a couple years ago, and the country I come from is like mostly white, and I didn't witness any I didn't witness this form of racism like the United States is experiencing right now. Whilst I was in my whilst I was in Italy, because we didn't have the same dynamics going on, and it's really heartbreaking to hear what students are experiencing on a daily basis here in New York. So that's why I've been kind of silent throughout this whole conversation.
Thank you for that, Andrea. We have Gujita. I see earlier she wanted to speak out. So if you're ready.
Yeah, hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. Some of you guys do know me. I am a former Gutman student. I'm an alum to here, and it is disappointing and it is heartbreaking to hear that my Gutman community, where I have come from for the past 2 years I've been there, you guys are not doing what is necessary to support your student of color. I'm myself, I follow what's going on. I was on committees. I see how the racism was. I see how the disadvantage was and are being continued on. I know it does not stop or it doesn't end with one generation or one cohort of students, but this is something that government needs to step up and do. You as a community is supposed to be here for our student. Yes, we have been 5 years. We're part of the CUNY system for 5 years, going on 6, going on 7. But if we're continuing on and we're not making no changes to what is being done in our community, how do you expect our students to grow and have the knowledge to bloom within this world? Yes, we're having the pandemic, we're having racism and killing of Black communities and Black brothers and sisters. But you as a community should be addressing this before this talk, before the student has to gather together and say, hey, this is what you need to do and have a fact check on our community. You should have done this already. And it is utterly disrespectful that you have to have students to tell professors and faculty, like, hey, this is what you need to do as part of your job. We are paying this tuition, whether it's through financial aid or paying out of pocket, like some undocumented student and international student that do go to Gutman. They're the one who are there. They're the one who are feeling the hardship. Our students are the one who are continuously working within the community, and they continue to do so. You have no idea what is going on in their head. And checking in once in a while does not hurt. Trust me, it does not hurt. I transferred to a bigger community, bigger college, and it's harder to have the closeness that we have at Gutman. And by switching online doesn't mean that you forget about the community, forget about what it is that our students need. That means you need to step up your game as Gutman. Gutman need to do better. And by having these monthly or weekly calls about having what is the state of the Grizzly, you need to know and reach out to our Grizzlies before having these meetings so that you can address the issues that is going on in the classroom, at home, and in the community, in society right now, because it is a hardship. That is what I want to say. I hope, and I truly do hope that government step up. And if you don't, I will definitely organize with the community to make sure you guys do.
Okay, I've got a couple of more hands raised. This list keeps disappearing on me. Professor Allen, did you have your hand raised? Did I see that correctly? You're muted if you're trying to speak.
I do have my hand raised up, but I think Yuri is actually before me. Yuri Carrera.
Hello?
Okay, yes. Yeri Correa?
Yes.
Okay, you have the floor.
Hello. I'm a government student. It's my second year. I don't participate in like these type of things. This is my first time coming to one of these. I wasn't even aware that you guys do these things. So I found out about this through Deborah. She came to my English class that we had today, and she had spoke up about it, and she encouraged us to go. I mean, to come here. So I just wanted to voice out like how I've been feeling. So I just find it like I found myself throughout the past few weeks and days, like continuously receiving emails, and every time I receive any email, if it's from Gutman or my professors, I find myself like seeing the subject, reading it, and just like leaving it alone. And I notice that I do that because I see it as like, is this even like I don't feel like it matters right now because I continuously see all these things on media of people being killed and people not speaking up or using their platform and people just not uniting. So seeing that my school isn't being there with us, it means a lot, and it just makes me like push away from school a lot because it's like if you guys don't care about what I care about, what would I care about my not about my education, but it just says a lot to me, and I found myself like just pushing away from school because you guys haven't spoke up about certain things like this. So that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, Professor Allen? You're muted again.
Thank you for the reminder. I'm trying to be respectful of everyone else. I just want to thank all the students for their bravery, throughout all of this, but I think especially in light of what happened to George Floyd. The entire country is hurting. All of us are. This should have never happened. There's been a long call for there to be some attention to police brutality. And I think we're maybe finally at this moment where, in fact, we are going to do that. The college community does have a responsibility. And our responsibility to obviously help you with your academic foundation, but also help you with the real world. And having these really tough, painful conversations is part of that growth and part of our responsibility. This Saturday, I don't know if Dean Pryor actually already mentioned it already, but UMOC is holding a conversation about race in America. That all of you guys are clearly you can come. I think he will send the link out. This is hurting all of us. You know, COVID-19, the distance learning has been a painful experience for everyone here. Trust me, As a faculty member who was uprooted from something that I loved, which is face-to-face conversation with my students, to see the light bulbs go off and then have that taken away from me, I am pained. We're trying, I think, our best, to make sure that we are here for you as best as we can. Because I think one of the things that you guys hopefully we can all understand here is that all of us are experiencing something that's very uniquely different. We're all experiencing this at the same time. Never before have we had any kind of moment like this where the entire world or even the entire country is dealing with these types of issues. We see clearly that there are some significant changes that need to occur in our public policy area in all regards, from higher education to criminal prosecute the criminal justice system, the healthcare system. But the important thing about that for me, guys, is to understand that we can't make that change really until we really get to have a conversation and we really begin to move this in our classrooms. Part of this whole process is giving you the agency, giving you the tools and resources that you need to be successful. Because we are examples of. I grew up in a small town in rural Alabama. Yeah, that little country just came out of me. But that's where I grew up. And here I am right now, one of the greatest university systems in the world at the newest community college, surrounded by great colleagues and wonderful students. We know that you're suffering. We're suffering too. We also want you to know that we're in this together. But in order for us to change this system, to change this cycle of abuse and hatred, we have to stand up together. We have to stand up together, register to vote. We have to stand together to actually heal and hear each other's voices, to be there for each other without any kind of, animosity. Racial discussions are hard. They always have been because of the foundation of this country. But these things are not something that we can't overcome. We've seen that time and time and time again. But complacency, sitting back, is not the answer here. We have to understand that part of this whole process is that you, the students, as I teach in the American government class, you guys are the power. You guys are the change. And there's enough of you out there, parents and your families, in order for us to make sure that we push this thing forward. We love you guys. We just sad and disappointed that we can't even see you, that we can't touch you, we can't hug you in this moment. Because that's what we actually really need right now. There's something that we can sit there and speak and say to each other. I know my other colleagues, faculty and staff, love and are hurting too. We truly, truly need to bring this together. And I think, flexibility is really important because part of this is understanding that in these kinds of circumstances, your performance can't be measured in the same typical way because these circumstances are different. They are oppressive. They are psychologically draining. They are emotionally draining. We should do something to help with this. Being flexible in grading, adjusting the amount of work. These are all things that we have to consider because COVID-19 is not going away. This racism is not going away until we solve this kind of issue. It's just not. If we don't go out there and hold our elected accountable, then this stuff will continue. The same thing here at Government Community College. You students are holding your administration and faculty leaders responsible, accountable. Right? The thing is that we're holding you accountable, and here we are. We should have taken the lead a little bit earlier. But understand that the shock that you feel is the same shock that most of us feel too, or all of us feel. And it's one of those things that we have to just get through this together. So again, I hope that you guys are able to come to the Zoom session on Saturday from 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock to 5. It's going to be a private setting, so there will be no Zoom bombing. The thing is for us to be here to help each other. This is our country. Everyone who is here has a right to be here. And we have to understand and articulate that, not just in our by getting a degree, but also being active in everything that we do. Holding corporations. One of the things that I find really kind of alarming right now is why aren't there more companies out there basically saying that they are standing with Black America? And I think, honestly, in this kind of situation, what we should do is publish those lists of companies that have it, and then not support them because they're not supporting you. And I mean all of them. We should also think about kinds of reforms for law enforcement. I think some of it is controversial, is actually tapping into the pension fund for those police officers who are in fact doing these kinds of issues. Having more training for these type of officers, raising the standards and expectation for these officers, creating a culture that is respectful for everyone. And it starts with making sure that all of us are being treated fairly and equally and given the similar opportunities to succeed. I know there's a list of people here right now, so I'm going to stop, but please show up on Saturday. Just know that we love you, we miss you, and we hope to see you guys again soon.
Thank you, Professor Allen, for that. Provost Watt, did I see that your hand was raised also?
Yes, you did.
Okay, you have the space. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Nestor, and good afternoon, everyone. To the students out there who are on this call, on this, you don't know me. You may have seen me around the building. My name is Howard Walk, and I'm the provost at Gutman Community College. That's the chief academic officer. That's the formal title. I want to thank you first for speaking today, for speaking honestly, for speaking openly, for speaking with vulnerability, and for holding us, the staff and the faculty at the college, accountable for our actions and our speech. It's brave of you to do that, and it's necessary. And I want to thank you for that from the bottom of my heart. I also want to listen, and for a good part of this session, that's what I was doing, and hearing what you had to say, hearing you express your pain, your fear, your anger at the world around us, at what has happened for a very, very long time, as we live in a society where racism has been buried and baked into how the society operates from the beginning. That's what brought us here today, and the fact that it continues and it continues the way that it does has brought us to this moment. As a white man with privilege, by virtue of being a white man, I've come to understand that listening is the first thing I must do. I have to understand better the experience of Black people who have lived in this racist society and who have experienced the damage that it does from the time that they were ever conscious of the world around them. So for those of us who have been lucky enough to be born with privilege, listening is the first task. It's the first thing that we have to do. The second thing we have to do is examine ourselves. Look at that world that we inherited, so to speak, the world that gave us privilege that our fellow citizens don't necessarily have. Examine ourselves and examine that world around us and begin to recognize what it means to be able to jog, to be able to go shopping, to be able to sit in your car on the street and not be afraid of being insulted or hurt or killed. Recognizing that is the first thing we have to do. Listening is the first thing, recognizing that and beginning to understand the implications of it for ourselves is the second thing we need to do. That's what creates the possibility of change. We have been working on this at Gutman. We've been working on it hard for the last couple of years. I know for you students who have been speaking today, it may not seem like that to you. And I am hearing you loud and clear. I understand that we need to change. I know that we need to change. And the change has to start with us, and it has to start with that kind of self-examination. I pledge to do it myself, and I pledge to continue to advocate and to push for my colleagues on the faculty and staff to do it as well. And with that, we will have the possibility of change in our small world of Gutman Community College. It doesn't necessarily affect the larger world, but we're part of that larger world. And I'll echo what Professor Allen was saying about engaging with that larger world and remembering that this year is an election year, and it's probably the most important election year that we will experience. It's certainly the most important that I've experienced, and I've experienced a few of them. So I just want to say again to the students, thank you. Thank you for speaking. Thank you for putting yourselves in this position to tell us what we need to do and what we need to change to make this a better experience for you and to help you have a better life. That's what we aim to do. We need to do it better. And this situation is really forcing us to see that very, very clearly. So thank you.
Thank you for that progress work. I'm still getting some requests to speak. Julia Batista, are you there?
Yeah, hello, Nestor. How are you?
I'm good, Julia. How are you?
Speaking of, what do you mean canceling the finals? I agree.
Yeah, so right now, as students are in the chat, one of the things that they're asking about or have mentioned, I think other schools have potentially operated from a perspective of canceling finals.
Okay.
I know that government has not had that conversation as of yet, as far as I know, but it's certainly something that your peers are asking about.
Okay. Well, that's it. Thank you, Nestor.
No
And
problem.
speaking of my issue, how about any fighting, voting on the political issue? I was thinking.
When you say political issue, Julia, can you give me a little
Yeah.
more? What do you mean by that?
Oh, sorry, I'm just asking for any of the racism rights, and how about feeling between anyone's connection with and of your own issue?
Yeah, so I think the discussion that we're having right now is an attempt to uncover for all sides exactly where everybody is positioned in the current state of affairs. So the consensus from the students is that the institution and different levels of the institution can do more in terms of their being responsive to student needs and their physical, mental, and emotional distress that they are under right now, related to the COVID pandemic that has been exacerbated by the recent murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, in addition to a long list of unfortunate incidents like that that have put us at this place where we need to be responsive as an institution. We need to be responsive as individuals. We need to come together as a community to support our Black students, our Black staff, our Black peers and colleagues. We need to do more education, not only as a college, but also as people by ourselves. And the political side is that a number of people feel that because we're in an election year, that voting is going to carry some strength in helping to put people in positions of power and authority to make decisions that will benefit the community as opposed to continue to uphold systemic racism and oppression and other practices that are detrimental to members of our community. So there's a lot that is being shared, and I think we're like at the tip of the iceberg as this conversation continues. And I want to make sure that we hear from the students. So I'm being told in the chat that there are some more students. So I'm not quite sure who that is because my list doesn't update. But Estelle, if you can let me know who's next in your queue, I'd love to give them the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Nestor. Dr. Allen, can you hear me? How are you?
Yes, I can.
So I heard about great. I heard about this Saturday's event. So was it? Yeah.
I believe Nestor placed an information, I think, in the chat where you can get the Zoom link. And I guess at some point maybe
like
they
what
will
time?
message out to the college. 2 o'clock, from 2 o'clock to 5.
Okay. Thank you. So you can send a reminder on my Gutman email?
Yeah, we're going to send out a reminder of the event that Dr. Allen and UMOC are promoting, and then we'll have some other spaces that we're going to send out immediately after this session here, because we want it to be at the top of everyone's email queue once this session ends, which again is going to continue on as long as there are people that are raising their hand. So we'll be sending that out, information with links, dates and times for those conversations that we're facilitating.
So what time the event finished? How long?
The Saturday event is 2 to 5, I believe it says. It's in the chat.
Oh yeah. I mean today, Wednesday.
Today,
the event.
Well, the State of the Grizz typically ends at 4 p.m. As
4
you can see,
p.m.
we're well after that,
Okay.
but we're going to continue on for a little while now. Okay?
Dean Pryor? I mean, what's your name?
Yes, this is Dean Pryor. Hello? Okay. Nestor, you want to go to the next person with the raised hand, please? I really want to keep this conversation going.
Yeah, we I believe EK had his hand raised.
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is EK. I work at the library. A lot of you probably have seen me telling you to be quiet. I just want to express my sincere sentiment with everybody. I'm deeply moved by everyone's testament and what everybody has been saying. And the main message that I want to communicate to everybody is that we feel your pain. We really do. We really, really do. I'm not going to sit here and act as if I understand your exact, struggle as being a student in the year 2020. I think that this year is just ridiculous. It's just been horrible from the beginning, and not to make a joke, but I feel like the history book is just going to have a chapter just for the year 2020. With that said, I feel that all of you have been doing, a tremendous amount of, work, a tremendous amount of perseverance. Those of you who are graduating, I'm for the abolishment of finals. I hear you guys, I really do. On Friday night, I was in Fort Greene and I saw some of what was going on, and it was just really profound. Like it was unbelievable. It felt like, we were in a movie or something. And to see the anger, to see the rage, to see, how upset people are about what's going on. And me personally, having my experiences, on the street where, people are afraid of me because I'm tall and whatever, and that's not even the case. I get it. I feel it. Another issue that I really feel that needs to be addressed is microaggressions. I feel that microaggressions are a big, big, big issue. Um, but to hit home, because I know there's other people who want to speak. I heard one of my student friends saying that, why aren't we out there protesting? Why aren't we, doing more? Why don't we have a presence? Um, Trust me, we want to be out there. We want to be heard. We want to be out there with you. We want to support. But it's unfortunate that, the world we live in, things still move. Time still goes. Deadlines are still, there's things that needs to be done. There's, processes that need to be in place. We have to prepare for your graduation. We have to do administrative things. But I just want you to know that we do support you and we do feel your pain and we do want to be there. I don't know if anybody in, you know, in the staff side of things would like to coordinate a day where we go out and peacefully protest. I would totally be down for it. Um, Also, for those of you who are protesting, I just want to remind you to be peaceful. I know it's very hard to, be peaceful in such a hostile time, but we need to remember to stay on the right side of history. We don't want to be recorded on the wrong side of history. We want to get our message across, and in order to do it, we have to be strategic. And it means, you know, having signs, being respectful, seeing other people who are looting and doing things that they're not supposed to do, tell them, yo, that's not cool. You're messing this up for us, things like that. So I just want to hit home that we do feel your pain and we do support you. I miss seeing all of you in the library. It's tough. And another thing quickly is that maybe, and I'm not making excuses for CUNY or for anyone or for the school, but sometimes, in these kinds of things, it takes time to decide what course of action to take because you don't want to react too quickly and, do something wrong. I'm not creating a blanket excuse for why there was no response, but I would like to assure you and let you know that the people who you do know, the people who you've interacted with in the hallways, the people that you've seen when you've gone to your clubs or go to, the library or wherever it is in the school, and those staff, those professors that you had interactions with and support from, we do support you and we are with you and we are here for you. So I just want to reinforce that and let you know. But at the same time, time does not stop. We have to manage, everything. We have to continue to do the work that we're, expected to do. We have to do everything virtually, and it's tough, but we're here for you. And I just want to remind you guys to be safe, be smart, use your voice, use social media responsibly. No hate mail, no hate messages, nothing that will put you on the wrong side of history. And that's it. Please stay safe.
Thank you, EK. I believe Sean is back. Sean, are you there?
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sean. I'm a second-year student at Government Community College, and I would like to voice my opinion on the COVID-19 breakdown and breakout that we're facing as an Asian community. And I understand that African Americans and people of color are dying on high rates right now, but there's also a COVID-19 breakout that we're facing as an Asian community. And as an Asian American myself, I feel like the school is not representing the Asian community because just because we're in low numbers, that doesn't mean that we're not there. We are here, and it's not I'm not taking sides on anything. I'm not taking sides on anything. I'm just saying that you guys should consider instead of like all life Black Lives Matters is all life matters, because we are humans at the end of the day. And ever since Donald Trump called this the Chinese virus, I just fear my life every single day as a Asian American, and as everything that he's been saying to us. And I just don't oh my god, I'm going to cry. But I just don't understand that you guys do not support the community. And I understand that this is a color African American serving institution, but we are there in numbers as well. And I just feel like we're not represented in anything that you guys talk about. I'm not taking sides, and I understand that the death of African Americans on the rise, but there's other people out there also. That's all I have to say, and thank you for your time.
Okay, so that's the last name that shows up on my list as wanting to speak. I think it's mostly because we have so many. My system is slow to catch up. Edgar, number 2. You want to say something?
I was supposed to speak because in the line it was Sean and then me and then Harmonica, Drew, Edgar.
Oh, all right, Deborah. Hold on one second. Say that one more time. I just want to. So Deborah.
Harmonica is after me.
Okay.
And then Drew.
Okay.
And then Edgar.
Okay, perfect. Deborah, go right ahead.
Okay, so before I even start my comments, because I was actively taking notes while we were having a discussion. I just want to address this to Sean. This is not to cause divide with the Asian and African American community. Of course, there are present issues of discrimination against Chinese Americans or even Asian Americans in general. So nobody isn't trying to take away from the fact that you have real issues that you are facing as an Asian American man. But what we are trying to do is just realize that the larger picture is, yes, all lives matter. But the real question is, do all lives matter? If all lives matter, then why do we have a Black Lives Matter movement? You know what I'm saying? So it's not to shame one group and to excel another group. It's just to put a spotlight on what's really going on and why is this being ignored. As far as my comments, I just wanted to say that I see a reoccurring theme in this conversation from faculty saying, well, what course of action should we do to support our students? So in my opinion, I feel like as faculty, especially for white professors, you need to execute your privilege. You need to have these uncomfortable conversations with your colleagues who are in the meeting room, the boardroom, even the president. Challenge the ideologies that they have been, that have become so normal, and it's been a normal type of society to just not talk about anything or put everything under the rug. And I feel like we need to make people uncomfortable in order to really understand, because Black people have been uncomfortable all their lives and have to be tiptoeing to please everybody. So I feel like in order to really understand the experiences and the plight of other people, you have to challenge the people around you with privilege to talk about it. Also, I feel like with professors in particular, I feel like you should direct your efforts in support of students. And the way that you can do that is, instead of having an extra credit assignment on COVID, we should have an extra credit assignment on the real stuff that's going on. If we have an assignment that's geared towards COVID, of course, COVID is a real thing. There has been disproportionate rates of people of color and Black people dying from this. Of course, this is something that is serious across the nation. But this particular instance needs to be broadcasted. And if you can do that through an assignment, if you can do that through a lecture, if you can do that on a one-on-one call with a Black student, that makes all the difference to us. So we just need you to be more participating and more active in change. And if you can do that through the vessels of you being an educator and having that degree, I need y'all to use your degree. This is what y'all went to school for. This is what y'all wrote all this stuff for, is to spread this to the students that you're teaching. So I just need y'all to really be active as professors, as faculty, to hold each other accountable when you see something, because not all professors, like many of my peers have said before, haven't been saying stuff. There has been professors who have reached out, but it's little to none. And we need the people who are reaching out to hold your peers and your colleagues accountable for when they're not actively stepping up for Black students, the Black community, and just overall racial targeting and police brutality. We need more people to speak about this who have positions of power. That's what we need. We want you to exercise your privilege, please. And thank you. Thank you for letting me speak again.
Absolutely, Deborah. No worries there, and thank you for that. Up next, according to what we have, is Hermanica. Are you still there?
Yeah. Actually, Deborah point out a few things that I wanted to talk about. Again, I've heard from my professors. Even before this conversation had happened, there was a conversation that was held, I believe, last Thursday. That email was sent out to the government community, and there were only one professor, and that professor was Dr. Allen, and there was only 2 staff, and that staff was Jew, and it was Courtney, and everybody else was students, and the students were Black students and other students of color. Okay, again, I have so much respect for everybody that's in here, but because I'm hurting by the silence of my professors. I am hurting by the silence of my white professors. You understand? I need you guys to use your privilege. I need you guys to use your privilege. You care about us. You understand? You care about us. Like, my mental health in the past, ever since this COVID-19 thing been happening, it's just been upside down. And the thing, I also need student of color, the non-Black student of color, to speak up too. Like, why it took me Deborah, Estelle, Angie, Griselis, Jackie, Andrea, less than 24 hours to come up with a plan. While we were the one who had to do it, it took us less than 24 hours. We started talking about this because we were hurting. We were talking to each other, and then we realized that in our friends group, everybody was hurting. We bring all of us together, and we did this in less than 24 hours. And I understand there's a conversation that will be happening. I need the professors to be there. I need the white professors to be there. I need the non-Black professor of color to be there. It cannot just be Dr. Allen. It cannot just be Dean Pryor. It needs to be everybody. Cause that's what, as Deborah said with the with government statement. That's what I stand for. We need to be there. We need to be there for everybody. But right now, the person who are hurting the most are your Black students, your Black colleagues. We are the one who being hurt. Thank you for allowing me to speak again.
Andrew.
What up, everybody?
Hi, Andrew. How are you?
Chilling. Well, it's good as so I think Monica's point just now was kind of a good transition of what I wanted to say. And as I'm listening, like, it's been a rough week for me personally, a lot of different reasons. And like, I don't know, I'm coming more of a aggressive, and I'm trying to like calm down before I spoke. But like, I don't really expect, maybe because I'm a little older and I've seen this a lot, like my level of what I expect from certain people is just not there. It's like, and you all are y'all are a lot younger than me, and I guess you are looking for your white professors and faculty staff to say something. I don't really expect it. I guess maybe because I just been living a little bit longer, you know what I mean? So I don't look for like, oh, checking on your Black friends, checking on, like, I don't need that. Like, that doesn't do any value for me personally. So as I'm listening, like, I grew up with the phrase, if you point a finger, you have 4 fingers pointing back at yourself, right? So everybody's talking like outwardly what you need from other people. But I just want to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable also. You know, we're demanding X, Y, Z from faculty, but what are you bringing to the table? Are you registered to vote? Are you encouraging your friends to vote? Are you encouraging your friends to go out and protest? Like, are you stepping up? This is June right now, right? It's June 2nd, right? And not that I wish it happened during this academic year, but during the year, how many of you showed up to SJA meetings or SJA events? How many of you, came out and demanded change? Like, we shouldn't be reactive. We need to be proactive. And as students, your voices are a lot louder than you know, right? And it's June now. A lot of you about to graduate, but your voices really, really carry weight. And just because somebody sends out an email, if that would have made you feel better, that's not going to change the system. You know what I mean? And like, I think a lot of us have misplaced aggression and misplaced anger, and we're letting out at whatever, right? So right now we're mad at government. We're mad at, where's the president? Where's the faculty? Let's say they did send out a long, nice, beautiful email. So what? Like, that's not, you feel better now. You feel better in a moment. That's just putting a small Band-Aid on it. You know what I mean? So like, what we need to be really focus on, like, what are we really mad at? And where is our aggression really supposed to be pointed towards? You know what I mean? So just because they didn't get an email, of course we would have liked the email, we'd have liked the nice statement, but that wouldn't have changed anything about the system, in my opinion. So I just want to make sure that we're pointing our aggression and our anger in the right direction, and that we're not just lashing out because we're upset now and blaming government. Government has nothing to do with it, in my opinion. And I know I'm not a student, and if I was a student, I would have loved a better response. I would have loved, us to come together right away, but it's bigger than government. It's bigger than that. So after this phone call, we get our aggression out. All right, do we feel better now? You know what I mean? Like, all right, like, are we good now? Like, all right, Scott sends out an email, right? We have a kumbaya, cool. We better now? Like, nah, like, we still living in our society. Once we log off our computer and we go out, we got to make change, like, in our communities. It's bigger than government. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I'm seeing this whole cancel finals bit, and like, stop it. Like, we live in a real world. For finals, in my opinion, aren't getting canceled. Like, you go into a math class, it's time to learn math. You step into the real world, deal with the real world. So like, let's not make this situation about canceling the finals or anything like that. I understand we're all hurting. I still got to show up to work. You know what I mean? And like, just to keep it real, like, stop all that. You know what I mean? And like, let's just focus on, like, let's channel our aggression in the right direction. Let's bring it to the voting booths. Let's bring it to our politicians. But let's not just be angry and be loud for the sake of being angry and being loud. So that's all I want to say. And I appreciate y'all for being on this call, and thank y'all for organizing this. Oh, and Monica, your last point, you organized this in 24 hours, right? I think a lot about, like, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all those, the Black Panthers. They were y'all age, you know what I mean? They weren't 30s, 40s. They were y'all age, and you're the organizers. That's your job, you know what I mean? And you said that yourself. You did that in 24 hours. We think too much, you know what I mean? Y'all are the organizers. Y'all are the youth. Y'all could communicate with each other. Y'all speak each other's language. So y'all keep doing that. Keep mobilizing. Keep organizing. And don't expect anything from anybody else. Organize it and do it yourself. Unfortunately, that's just what it has to be. And just because you may not see it on social media, don't think that people aren't doing things behind the scenes. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to keep ranting, but y'all be blessed. Y'all stay safe.
Thank you, Andrew. The next person on my list is Edgar. Are you still there?
Nestor?
Yes.
This is Dr. Allen.
Dr.
I
Allen,
have the
yes.
people who have already. I have the people who have already spoken to lower their hands unless they want to speak again.
Oh, yeah. Please, folks, if you can, and this is just a bit of housekeeping so that I can see the right list. If you've already spoken, please lower your hand so that I can get the latest name showing up on my screen. That would be very helpful. And then I believe the last name that Deborah gave me, based on what she could see, was Edgar. Are you there, Edgar?
Yeah, Edgar,
Yeah.
plugged in?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Edgar. Go ahead and speak, and then I'm gonna go ahead and chime in. Go ahead, Edgar. Please give us, your
So
your contribution.
like you mentioned before, I'm trying to like match my words before I speak. But hello everyone. My name is Edgar Cecilio. The SGA president, and I just want to say that the SGA is completely with our people, our brothers and sisters. But something that like I was like listening back, hearing what everyone was saying, and I really feel the anger, the frustration, the stress, and everything. But something we gotta like, instead of keeping that as a frustration, turn it into a motivation and keep up with your schoolwork. Like this is to all like the people of color, Hispanics, blacks. Instead of being frustrated and, you know, doing this violent protesting, looting the stuff, because I was part of one of my neighborhoods where it got looted, and in most of the neighborhoods, the neighborhood I'm from, they're mostly Hispanic owned, black owned, and it was looted, and I'm like, if we're really, in the thought of keeping, like Black Lives Matter, then why are we looting our own people's, businesses. You can't be doing this at all. And on top of that, something I like to keep in mind and once like share this in thought, we're talking about like our white professors don't like does not like keep us in mind. They don't keep us on track. Why don't we instead of that, why don't we keep motivated, get our degrees, go higher as much as we can, and at the end of the day we'll be able to compete with those kind of people as well. Like for example, I like to use Drew, Dean Pryor, Nestor. These are people of color in positions that other white folks can be as well. But since they took their chances of getting an education, trying to be someone in life, they are now in the position where they are now. And if it, like, let's be honest, if it was a white person that was in Dean's prior position, would they really listen to us, or would they listen to us because it's their job? Dean Pryor can somehow relate to what we're feeling, to be honest. So my message to all my students, no, my students, to all my colleagues, my friends, my everything, just keep doing well in school and just get to the point where you're able to compete with people like this. Because once you're in that type of level, the world starts to view differently. Like Drew says, like, have you encouraged your friends to vote? Have you done what you're supposed to do in order to make an actual change, and just instead of just posting in social media, oh, this is not right, that doesn't do anything. At the end of the day, you got to do what actually does something. You know what I mean? So like, I'm sorry if like what I said was like disorder, but like this is like too much, to be honest. But the SJ is completely with our brothers and sisters, and that's all I have to say is keep doing well in school, so you can definitely compete with these kind of people, and that's how we can change the world, to be honest, and especially in this country.
Okay, thank you, Edgar, for that. Dean Pryor, Dr. Allen had asked for one more moment before you jump into your final thought. Is that
Okay,
okay? Okay,
that's fine. Please.
Okay, sorry, I reconnected. I just want to say something briefly. There's actually two things I want to say. First, and I'm really happy that everyone is showing your voice, because it shouldn't stop. The voice should always continue. I think we should also make a distinction, as someone put in the chat. We have to make an intellectual distinction between looters and protesters. To conflate those two together actually makes it much more muddier than it actually needs to be. We have to understand that these are not always the same people, and that there's obviously sometimes, I think there's reporting that some of these white nationalist organizations have also done. So be careful with that. The only thing I'm going to say before I answer my door is a quote by Malcolm X: "You cannot legislate goodwill. That comes through education. Get education and change the system." That's all I say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Thank you, Nestor. Thank you to everyone. Um, I want to continue this narrative about where we are in this phase, and how do we continue to move and act and push things forward. What we are talking about now, and what we are discussing now, is the impact of systematic, institutional, historical racism. We are in a society in which we have to continue to tell people that Black Lives Matter, because legislatively, judicially, financially, economically, socially, education wise, people of color have not had as the systematic opportunities that other folks have. This is what we're responding to. And in connection with what Dr. Allen said, we are not talking about just changing a system. We are asking people to be anti-racist so that we can change their minds and their hearts, so that the ways in which they plug into systems, the ways in which they show up in institutions has an impact and change. That is what it is about. Privilege is not just about who you are, it is about your ability to ignore things that happen on the outside world because it doesn't impact you. That's the basic definition of privilege. And the way it shows up for me.
Wait, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Nope, nope. But it's not you. I think it's the computer. I think it's the computer. Hold on. Yeah, because you can hear me through the Instagram. Because I see. Can everyone except Dean Pryor please mute themselves, including myself? We have you on the Instagram feed, but we don't have you on the computer. It shows me that you're rebooting, Dean, and so while we try to get you back, my hope is that everyone can still hear me. If someone could just type into the thread yes into the chat so that I know that at least you can hear my voice. Okay. While we get Dean Pryor back, this is just a technical difficulty. I want to continue to honor the fact that many folks have spoken not only vocally through expressing themselves in the chat, but online, but also through the written chat as well. And I think we got Dean Pryor back.
Yeah. So
Okay.
thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Obviously, it was a technical issue, but anti-racism, and so I was talking about privilege, is this ability to ignore things that happen over there because you are disconnected from it, because it doesn't directly impact you. What we are asking is folks that don't look like the folks that are being oppressed to get involved. I appreciate the signs. I appreciate the post on Facebook. I appreciate the backgrounds and diagrams. But what the students are asking and what I am asking is for folks to take a hard look at systems that they engage in and spaces that they dominate and control, and make sure that they are inclusive in spaces and voices. Anti-racism doesn't necessarily mean that you yourself are not racist. It means that you are accepting, that you are learning on a daily and regular basis ways in which to call more people and more ideas into the conversation. We all have something to learn about how we are engaging with folks that look, sound different from us, that engage with a different religion, that love a person that looks different than the person that we love, or very simply, as a black man, people that have different skin tone than mine. That is what we are asking. We are asking that you look yourself, in your heart and in your head, and do what you can, what you're empowered to do to dismantle systematic racism that we on a daily basis engage in. The other part of this is how do we move past the protests? Because this is important. It is important that you all are heard. It is important that we are heard for the pain that we feel when we continue to see the vicious murders of people of color, of trans people, of women of color, of anyone in our society. And we have now the opportunity to change things through our voice. The protest is one part of our voice. Registering to vote is another part of our voice. For weeks, we talked about participation in the census as part of our voice. Now is the time. Bob Marley talked about light up the darkness. This is the darkest point in our lives. We are in month 3, week 13 or 14 of a pandemic, and everything, the world is on pause except for racism, except for misogyny, and a million other isms are showing and rearing their ugly heads. And we are at this point fed up, we're angry, we're frustrated, and that's why people have taken to the streets. And Grizzlies, I promise you, I'm here with you, and I will continue to be there with you. And if my support needs to look like to you, me being on the front lines, that's what I'm going to do. But recognize that when we come off the protest, that we have a civic responsibility to engage in our communities, to engage in our democracy. We have a voice, and it starts with these protests right now. And if we are truly going to light up the darkness, then we have to continue to be the torch that lights up the world. You all are our current leaders and our future ambassadors to a new world that embraces folks that don't look like us, that embraces a different system that engages and values all that show up. But we will continue to point out, put forward the moniker, the idea that Black lives must matter. They have to. And until there is equal playing for that, then we are behind the curve. We cannot say we're an inclusive society, and we cannot say that we're an inclusive institution. We have to do better at Gutman and outside of Gutman's walls. I want to take this opportunity, and I know that there are other people that would like to speak, but Nestor, can you double check? I believe President Evan Beck is available. He has participated and listened in for the last hour or so. He stepped away from his university meeting. So if you can check to see if we can get his microphone open, and maybe see if we can even get him on camera so that he can address what is almost 15% of our college community is here between Blackboard and Instagram.
Absolutely, Dean. So while I do have hands raised now for Drew, Ileana, Andrea, Professor Wentworth, Lydia, Professor Tang, I believe, and Professor Gilbert Hickey, I'm going to ask that you please just hold tightly while we do give the floor to President Evan Beck. Are you with us, President Evan Beck?
Is his microphone not active?
Microphone is showing as active on my screen, but I know we've run into this before where
there we
it
go.
shows.
It just went hot on my screen. Scott, President Evan Beck, are you there?
Yeah, what I found is that the more participants we've had, the quicker we get to technical difficulties. Just try that one more time. President Evan Beck, can you at least hear my voice? We can't hear you at all. Let me see. President Evan Beck. Okay, well, let's
continue the conversation while
we'll
behind the scenes try to do some technical support for President Evan Beck.
Okay, so then according to my list, please take note. I've got Drew, Ileana, Andrea, Professor Wentworth, Professor Tang, and Professor Gilbert Hickey in that order. So, Drew, why don't you go, and then Estelle. So then,
Yeah,
Drew, why don't you go ahead?
yeah, I want it ready. I mean, I could keep ranting, but I'm good.
Okay, Ileana, did you want to share your comments?
Hi, can you hear me?
You absolutely can.
All right. So, hi guys. I just wanted to say that fuck me. I just wanted to say that as a school, I feel like you guys should do better when it comes to your black students and your students of color, because I went to a predominantly white high school. And when it came to students who wanted to talk, or like black students who wanted to do something, they were always ignored and silenced. And just last night, my high school was getting exposed, and I just want you guys to do better. And don't be like what my high school did. I feel like you guys should stand up for black students as well. And that while this may be a touchy topic for some people, we should keep having this conversation. So yeah.
Thank you, Ileana. Andrea?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I've been listening a lot to what people are saying, and it just feels like um, a lot of people are attacking faculty, even though I don't believe they deserve this, because even though racism is only something that I can imagine, I haven't experienced it myself because um, I'm white and uh, I I can't say that I shared the same experiences as other people, but I feel like the faculty are doing a great job at the moment because they're still providing us with resources, lectures, and teaching us the importance of being there for each other. And for example, in one of the classes I'm taking right now, I'm learning the importance of voting. And thank you, Dr. Allen, for that, by the way. So, you know, government is really teaching us how to change things, and I feel like people are lashing out on professors when it's like they're only here to support us. And I know that some people may think that a bit more they need a bit more support, but these are times that are challenging for everyone, and people having to quarantine, and it's not easy, like psychologically for everyone. So yeah, I feel like
Thank you.
we should all be a bit more conscious about who we are attacking, and like where, as Drew said, where our anger is directed right now.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm going to interject here. I believe we do have President Evenbeck back on the line, so I'm going to interrupt this initial speaking order and give the space floor to President Evenbeck.
Okay. Thank you, Nestor. I want to thank everyone for being with us today. I thought it was terrific how our valedictorian and salutatorian opened the meeting with a moment of silence. I think that one of the things that's been important to me during this pandemic, when I've been in social isolation the whole time, is to have more time for reflection. And I think when we're intentional about having a moment of silence and thinking about what's really important, especially if we're trying to listen, especially when we hear voices as articulate as we've had today, we have a chance to learn. The pervasive racism in this country is so endemic in the history of the country, past and present, and my prayer is that we together at Gutman and New York City more broadly can help us to address that, to attend to the microaggressions that happen so often, all the way through the terrible police murders that we've seen in recent weeks. I wrote a message to the community yesterday, and it was really hard to write because I think that words in this time aren't what we need to do. I mean, we do need words. We need to talk with one another. We need to hear one another. But what we really need, as we heard from so many folks today, is actions. We need to vote. We need to attend to how we do our work at Gutman. I was very impressed with Professor Allen's very careful and well-spoken thoughts about what we need to do at Gutman. We need to change the cycle. We need to take action. Clearly, we need to make sure that everyone is treated fairly and accurate and equally. One of the things that I've been thinking about is I have some underlying conditions and I cannot go out and protest right now. Some of us are able to do that, and I've done that a good deal in my past. But I wonder if there's a way that we could protest virtually. And I agree with Professor Allen that this coupling of protesting and looting is pretty offensive. Protesting is what we all need to do, and I think that Harmonica and others who helped organize today's session are really helping to move Gutman forward. Dean Pryor used the term light up the darkness. That's clearly what we need to do, is to light up the darkness. And we had Provost Walk, Dean Pryor, Dean Blake, many faculty and staff with us today. And as Dean Walk said, in particular, those of us who are white really need to listen and learn. Gutman has been about the work of equity for some time, but we're only in the beginning of that. It's very hard work, but we're totally committed to do it. And I thank Charles for putting together the state of the Grizz today, and pledge to you that we'll redouble our efforts and keep speaking, and we'll keep listening, but it is imperative that we move beyond words into actions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Evan Beck. We appreciate your leadership and, more importantly, your commitment to redoubling our efforts for support for students. But I know we have some people in the queue, but there were students asking to hear from you. So Nestor, I would actually ask, I'm sorry if there was staff in the queue, but I would love to hear from our students in this moment. As I think, President Evan Beck heard their calls, and like I said, did step away from university meeting to be here with us. So I'd love to hear from students now.
Currently in our raised hand queue, we have Estelle as the only student whose hand is raised. So Estelle, go ahead.
Okay. Hi everyone. Again, my name is Estelle. For those who don't know me, I just want to take some time and say that I really appreciate you, President Evan Beck, for speaking out and coming to this chat to speak out. I wanted to share a tweet that I think resonates a lot with the time that's going on now, and it goes like this: resistance is not a one-lane highway. Maybe your lane is protesting. Maybe your lane is organizing. Maybe your lane is counseling. And maybe your lane is art activism. Maybe your lane is surviving the day. And I just want to urge everyone, do not feel guilty for not occupying every lane. We need all of them. Thank you.
Thank you for that timely tweet. I know I've seen that circulate across a number of different social media sites, and it certainly resonates for this discussion. Professor Wentworth, you are up on the speaking queue.
Okay, let me unmute myself and get my video going for you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I don't know if you guys can see. It looks like my video's not letting me share it. I just wanted to take a moment. And first of all, I joined this conversation at about 4 o'clock while GQ was talking, so I haven't been here the entire time. But I just want to reiterate a lot of the things that have been said, which is that this is not okay, what's been happening, not only in the world, but also here at Gutman with our lack of a response. And to tell my students that I am so proud of them and the conversations that we have been having here. I think that like 90% of the voices that we've heard, I can think, oh, I had Estelle in college algebra, and oh, I had a Monica in city seminar, and you know, a lot of my students are here and they're voicing these amazing, really well thought out ideas, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking I'm gonna sound like a rambling idiot, but I have to say I'm so proud of my students and so embarrassed by the response that they feel that they've been encountering. And just to sort of give my students an idea, I did not reach out to my students, and that was extremely on me, my fault, because the moment this happened, I'm a white girl from New Jersey. I have a lot of white people in my life. And when this happened, I started taking moments to have conversations with everyone I do encounter regularly that thought, hey, I'm not a racist person, so I'm not part of a problem. And I've been taking my time to check in with those people and point out that this isn't just about, do you have a certain viewpoint in society? And it's a lot more of a bigger issue. And I spent so much time trying to make noise in my community that I neglected my students. And I'm just here to apologize for that. And just say that I'm gonna stay out there and I'm gonna keep making noise about this because it's wrong. And I'm proud of the fact that some people that I've talked to have listened, and I've heard some of the people that I've talked to then on the phone with other people and saying, you know, it's not really about whether or not you're racist, because you might not see yourself as racist, but there's so much more to this and you just have to start educating yourself. And I got so wrapped up in trying to do something in my non-Gutman life, and I think I in my mind just thought my students are amazing and they are strong, and I didn't even think to be there for them, and that was so incredibly wrong of me, and I apologize. And I just want them to know that I'm here for them, my students, anyone who has had me, anyone who hasn't had me. I'm here for you, I'm supporting you, I'm so proud of you, and we must do better.
Thank you, Professor Wentworth. I believe it's Professor Tang, Lydia Tang, is that correct?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, Professor Tang. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah.
I'm so pleased to see so many of my former here. Let's see if I can get I don't know, my screen will come up. Who knows?
Are we having audio issues or?
It looks like we are. Just a reminder to please stay muted while we have speakers. We can. Okay, Professor Tang, you're there. There you go. Thank you. All right, we can see you.
Should I turn
All
my
right.
video off? Okay.
No, you're
Can you
fine.
hear
You're
me?
fine. We can hear you and see you.
Okay. Okay, great. So I'm so happy that so many of you are here, so many of my students are here. And I just wanted to say a couple of things. And I'm so glad Sean's here. I'm really some of my experiences with racism and started when I was growing up. And I know that I'm not black, but I'm Chinese. And obviously I look different, just like everybody who's experiencing racism. We're very recognizable for not being white. And one of the things that my father said to me And I wanted to pass this on to all the students here, whether you're Hispanic, Black, Chinese, or anything, is that you can see you can see what how different we all are, because we all look very different. Okay, and one of the things that he impressed upon me is that when you go out and try and find a job, because there is this systemic racism, because it's obvious that we look different, one of the things that you have to do is you have to prove yourself. And it's hard. It's really, really hard. You have to make sure that you're as good or better than everybody else. So that I want to just impress upon you how important it is for you to study, and how important it is for you to become educated, and how important it is for you to be involved, and how important your experiences are, and how important it is for you to speak up, and also know that you are better heard when you are educated, and when you know who to speak to, and what the right channels are to get things done. So I can't express to you how important education is. You're at Gutman and you're starting your education, and bravo, because that's how we start getting things done. That's, you need to vote, you need to be educated in terms of where to go. I just found out. So my aunt, who was an amazing woman, just passed away in a nursing home because of the COVID-19 shutdown. And she was amazing. And I just wanted to share with you that whenever she had an issue, she would write to the president, or write to the senators, or write to the state government, or write to wherever she needed to be heard, because she knew what she needed to do to be heard. And so that's what I'm doing, is I'm encouraging you to make yourself heard, not only in demonstration, but to learn where you need to, where it is that you need to send your voice, whether it's a letter, email, or whatever. Just learn that. I guess I wanted to say something. Originally, I wanted to say something is because Chinese people are considered model minority, right? And I don't know if you saw, but as soon as COVID-19, that model minority went down the drain. Asian people started getting killed. Asian people started getting attacked. Asian people started being threatened. And I don't know if you experienced that or even heard about those experiences. But because I'm Asian and I have Asian relatives and Asian friends, I started seeing social media blow up on my social media about these instances. So what I'm saying to you is, even though you make strides, you have to remember that this is a long game that we're playing. All right? So it's important to keep on going. It's important to keep on trying, because you're really going to be fighting not only for yourself, but you're going to be fighting for your children, and you're going to be fighting for everybody that comes after you. So I just want to reemphasize how important it is for you to keep on with your studies, and keep on educating yourself, and keep on doing the right thing and doing the positive thing, because by doing so, you're building a better world for generations to come. Thanks for listening.
To hear that, Professor Tang. Thanks.
So I want to take a moment to thank everyone for speaking here today. And I know we have a number of folks that are still in the queue. And this space is in the state of the Grizz. We invite community, the government community. We invite those that are coming to the government community via new committed, new interested students and their parents. But the biggest reason why we put this forward is for our students. This is a space for them to hear updates, but more importantly, to be heard and to be seen and to engage and know that the institution hears you and sees you. You know, the one thing about this moment in our history that I have learned is that I need to continue learning. As a man of color, I show up in this plight in a certain way, but that doesn't mean that I know everything about everything that is going on. What I have learned from my students, from our students, from the community, is that our response needs to be adjusted. That I myself need to do some things differently, that I need to ask staff to do things differently, and that you as students have taken the time, as Harmonica said, to get together and to formulate a plan on how this institution needs to better support you. For 13 weeks, I have gotten on this medium and said, we got your back. And what I'm hearing from you is that you all need more support from this institution. President Nevin Beck said that we're going to double down on that. Provost Watt said that we are going to do more listening. Dr. Allen, Drew Bennett said, we are here and we're going to take steps forward together. And the only way that we move things forward and together is by listening in those spaces and engaging. I wish I could recall, and I have notes on a piece of paper here from just about something that everyone said. What I am most moved by is, again, our students. I want to take this moment to thank Jacqueline Arias, Andrea Ugolini, for having the foresight to leverage their space, the opportunity they could have used the platform to really promote themselves. And they said that this is an issue for our students, for folks that attend government and folks outside of our walls. And I thank you for putting this forward. As many of you know, I sent out a note that said we were going to dedicate half an hour to this. And here we are 2.5 hours later. And I am so thankful that we had this opportunity to have this discussion. During Governor Cuomo's address today, he didn't tell you not to protest. He didn't tell you not to go outside. He asked you to do it safely. Because what he is asking us to do, or charging and challenging New Yorkers to do, is to get engaged, to recognize that this is that moment in time that we have an opportunity, as I said, thinking back to Bob Marley, to light up the darkness. This is a dark point. We have an opportunity to light the moment on fire with our thoughts and our engagement in our communities in a positive way. You all have taught me more about this moment than I thought I could learn in 2 hours. And I appreciate your engagement and your candor in checking the institution. We say we support you, and now we got to walk that we've been talking. So again, I thank you. I appreciate you. And as our support, grows, and develops, I'm going to ask you to continue to call us in. Call us, administrators, faculty, this institution, into the conversation so that you feel supported. We have a long way to go in changing a system that is steeped with well over 400 years of oppression. But I'm confident with leaders like you that we can make some changes. And it starts with engagement, it starts with the peaceful protest, and it continues with voting, it continues with the census, it continues with getting engaged in your community and getting plugged into your educational journey. So Grizzlies, we're right at 5:30. I thank you for your time today, and I ask those that monitor, manage, facilitate spaces, whether it's a meeting or a classroom or a lecture, to use your platform and your privilege to facilitate further dialogue. This is not the only space for this. This is one space, and we must empower ourselves and those that we have the opportunity to influence to speak up and invite people into this conversation. Nestor, this has been an amazing experience for me. I have found myself not only learning and taking notes, but humbled by the energy, focus, the vigor, the resilience, but more importantly, the leadership of our students. I am always blown away by how they show up, and today I am emotionally moved. As a Black man who grew up in the Bronx and sat at lunch counters in Woolworth when we weren't supposed to, who grew up part of his upbringing in the South where there were stores that we still didn't visit, or where municipalities didn't take down by accident, they didn't have the funding, the colored only fountain signs in Richmond and Southern Virginia. I remember those things. In many ways, we have made advances, and in many ways, we're still dealing with that system of oppression. And I thank again our students for teaching this old dog some new tricks. Nestor, thank you, man. I appreciate your skillful moderation and keeping everyone engaged. I appreciate you. I see you, and I thank you.
Thank you, Dean Pryor. This certainly has been an eye-opening conversation, one in which many truths were revealed, and none more apparent than our students feel let down and want us to step up for them, and that's a charge that we hear. And as we've been discussing, it has to happen on a number of different levels. We have to look at ourselves as an institution, not only Gutman, but CUNY-wide. There's been a couple of calls in the chat for us to work this information up to the CUNY system and see what changes we're asking to happen there. We're asking for similar divestments to what the University of Minnesota did when it divested itself from the police department. So there's been calls to see how we might do that here. But I think the most compelling one is that folks need to check inside themselves and see where they stand on this. And that's everybody. Yeah, I'm proud that our students got together and called each other and said, let's get this conversation going and let's put it out there in the most public way possible and force the issue. Cool. But now it's there, and the real work starts because the line has been drawn. So what we do next is critical. Here's a small piece of what we do next. I'm going to share a screen. This is something that we're pushing out to the students. They're saying that they want a space to be heard. And so we're going to process with our students. We're asking for them to show up in these spaces so that we can have those conversations. These are going to be affinity group related spaces where students can show up as themselves and in a safe space and have conversations about some of the issues they brought here. It's going to be about feelings. It's going to be about thoughts, ideas. It's going to be around activism. It's going to be about resources. But it's an attempt to try to hear at an even deeper level what our students want. So if you see yourself reflected in any of these spaces that are starting tomorrow, then please show up. The link will be sent out via email to all of our students. And so we ask that you please show up and be present and bring your full self into that space.
Sir, I have a question about the event. Please.
Yes, Julia.
So, do you want to send out the reminder of the event on to the government email? I found it that you're sharing the screen.
Yeah, we're going to send an email after this session is over to student listserv. So please continue to look out for emails.
Yeah, I already check my email every day.
Yeah, after this is over, we, take care of the technical background stuff that we need to take care of. We're going to push out the email message with the links and information.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you guys stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
And I think that's where I'll put my pin in it, Dean. Like as I said in the earlier comments, we're at a time when so many different forces came crashing against each other. The COVID pandemic, on top of the repeated instances of racial injustice and the murdering of folks. And we want people to stay safe. So if you're gonna go out and do the protesting in the streets, please wear your masks and try to practice the social distancing as much as possible if you believe that stuff is going to help. If you're going to protest, there's a number of different toolkits online for how to keep yourself safe from tear gas, from being identified through facial recognition technology and different things like that. So we want, for you to please research in the places where you do your research to find out how to keep yourself safe in those environments. I believe New York still has that curfew in effect, and people could be arrested if they're out in the streets after 8 p.m. If you happen to get arrested, there are resources out there that will allow for people to post, to access bail.
We'll be pushing those out as well. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but the College Council shared some information that was shared with her. We'll push that out as well if students need that as a resource.
We still do have listed on our government website resources for students that are facing food insecurity, housing insecurity, bills and payment insecurity. And so please continue to visit the government website. It has information. It's going to get new information, and it's probably the quickest way for us to push out information. And we're going to try to recalibrate how we do that through our social media channels also, so that everyone has the most up-to-date and accurate information so that they can prepare themselves for whatever action steps that they're going to take. But most importantly, what I want to end this with is my hope is that when we're able to be back in the building, 50 West 40th, that we're able to do so in our complete whole selves, changed for the better. But I want to see people back in that building because I'm sick and tired of talking to everybody through a computer, and that's my own personal thing. But like I've seen in the chat that people are missing each other desperately, and that is certainly part of this problem, is that we're not able to be with each other and have some of these conversations. And so my hope is that when we get back in the same space, that we're able to do so with each other. The way colleges were supposed to be a place for people to have these dialogues and change each other's minds. So thank you for this space. Thank you, government community, for hearing us. Thank you, students, for challenging us. Thank you, faculty, for being present and hearing our students. Thank you, administration, for listening. but the real work is ahead of us. And with that, I say goodbye and thank you to everyone for being a part of this discussion.
Take care, Grizzlies.